And we're back with a little, not quite tutorial, more just answers to a couple of common questions I see coming up all the time. One question I get a lot is, I don't appear to use showers in my bases. Why don't I use showers? Showers are simple. Am I a little bit slow? All I have to do is put in some showers. It'll solve a lot of problems. It's more of a cost benefit thing for me though. For me, when I look at showers, I don't see the benefit of them. First off, we've got this duplicant here. We're going to just cover how showers work. Panthero has just finished using the bathroom. They're going to come out and they're covered in, well, 150, a lot of germs. Now they're going to walk straight past all these showers and go straight to the sink. The reason being the showers don't automatically trigger the duplicant's need to wash. So they don't bother washing when they're going past a shower, which means you can't integrate the shower into their schedule for cleaning. Now, what does the shower do then? Well, the duplicants hop into the shower, and if you count it up, you can count up the bubbles coming out of here. It takes 15 seconds for duplicants to finish the showering animation. You can speed it up by, it does have a progress bar, so you can speed it up with a ceiling light, so you can cut down on that time just a little bit. So they don't get rid of germs. Well, they do get rid of germs, but you can't trick them into using it once they come out of the bathroom. They take way, way longer than a sink. Sink takes about 4 seconds, a little bit less to do its animation. And what you get out of it is 3 morale. I don't see a benefit for that. The only other benefit they give you is they allow you to turn clean water into polluted water. I don't really need that either. I have a petroleum boiler. I don't see a need to turn the polluted water here into clean water. So all it's really giving you is 3 morale for the cost of 15 seconds of your duplicant's time, or 2.5% of their day. That's that's not a great deal. I don't need that morale. If you look at my consumables here, my morale's in the 40 plus or whatever. Why would I waste 2.5% of their productive day putting them in a shower? At the same time, the only reason I have even in a jukebox is just so I can get the room bonus by turning it into a great hall by having a recreational building available. Same with the great hall. If I could get by with reducing their scheduling to only 3 downtime slots, I would. The only reason 4 is there is because sometimes they're really far away from the base. So when it comes down to showers, I don't see a point to them. I am open to having my mind changed, but as far as I can see, 3 morale for 15 seconds of their day is not worth the cost. I can get the morale in plenty of other ways for cheaper. I mean, room bonuses, anyone? Yeah, perfect. Now, next up is comfy beds. Why do I never give my duplicants the nice comfy beds? Here we have a duplicant, Donny Diggle. They're about to head straight off to Sleepyland. Now, if we check them out, they will see that their stamina is at 34%. And you notice that change per cycle of minus 70? That means when a duplicant is walking around the place, their stamina decreases by every cycle 70%. So in a 24 chunk cycle, their entire stamina will have gone down by 70%. But in this case, it's gone down by 66 because that's how long they've been awake. And they're going to hop straight into bed. And when they do, their stamina recharge has jumped from up to 1,230. Now have a look at the numbers there. You'll notice that sleeping is 900%. That just means that if they go to sleep, even if it's on a ladder on the side of a building, they'll still get a 900% sleeping recovery. They get an extra 200% for being in a comfy bed and an extra 200% for being in a private bedroom. That brings them all the way up to 1,230. Now, if we go and grab Doc Dupe over here, who's just sleeping in a normal cot in a normal barracks, they are getting 1,030. They get the same 900% for sleeping, an extra 100% for being in a cot, and an extra 100% for being in a barracks. So they end up with 1,030 instead of 1,230. If you do the maths on this and roughly how much they're going to come back on, it roughly works out as a duplicant sleeping in a comfy bed will take 1.2 chunks of time, or 1.25 chunks of time to get to get fully recharged. And a duplicant in a barracks will take 1.5 chunks of time to fully recharge their stamina. So if you've already got your duplicants on 2 bedtime slots, it doesn't matter if you stick them in a comfy bed because they're going to stay in that bed until after they've well, until long after their stamina has fully recovered. So let's just try Mama Ooh. They were the last one into the bed. And you'll see here, this is when they should be getting up. It's about there. Let's see. Oh, will they recharge? No, not quite. Oh, still not. Even with a comfy bed, they still haven't recharged completely by the time they're supposed to get up, just because they were a little bit late into the bedroom. Wait. Let me rephrase this because I'm getting sidetracked by different details. Imagine there was no bedrooms. Imagine you didn't build a bedroom, you didn't build a barracks, you didn't build anything, and you just let your duplicants, you got rid of these bedtime shifts entirely off your schedule, and you just had work and recreation. What your duplicants would do is they would keep working and being recreational until they ran out of stamina, until it hit 0%, at which point they would fall asleep no matter where they were. Then they would stay asleep and not get up again until their stamina hit 100%. Well, unless they run out of oxygen or something, in which case things would happen. So the only reason we give them bedrooms well, one of the reasons is to stop them getting sore back. If they sleep on a ladder or out on a piece of dirt or a tile, they will get a sore back from it, which will decrease their athletics by a tiny bit. Also doesn't help their stress. Two, you don't want them falling asleep somewhere that would be bad for them, like say underwater or in space, that would also be bad. So we give them a place to stay and safely recover their stamina. Two, we want them to, it gives them a bonus to their stamina recovery, but honestly, it's not that great. Considering you get 900% just from sleeping, an extra 200% is decent. It's just not huge. An extra 400% if you sleep in a comfy bed, a lot better, of course. And it does cut down on the amount of time it takes them to recover their stamina. However, you normally have to assign two bedtime slots to be safe. If you don't assign two bedtime slots to a duplicant, there's a chance that they might miss it when the time comes because of other things that sidetrack them during the day. So to be safe, I always give them two bedtime slots. If I'm going to give them two bedtime slots, it's usually a case of they will be finished and have their stamina recovered before the two bedtime slots expire, or close enough. Now, if that's not convincing enough, let's just say this is what my normal bedroom style would look like. This way I have all my duplicants exposed to massive chunks of decor for that plus 12 morale bonus that's going on. Very tasty. Now, if I wanted to upgrade all of these and make have a barracks this large that could support this many duplicants with comfy bed, I'd have to make a few changes. Unfortunately, this is not good enough. This will only support 18 duplicants. Before, I was supporting 36 with all the bedrooms I had in here. But now, well, those beds take up twice as much space, which means I'm going to need to expand this to store more duplicants. So let's just do the expansion necessary to show you how big I'd have to make it to fit in the same amount of duplicants. And there's what it would look like. I would have to expand my base that much and put in all that extra infrastructure to support the exact same amount of duplicants. And in exchange, I would get +1 morale, and maybe I would save some time on the duplicant sleeping during the night. However, a whole bunch of duplicants now have to travel an awful lot further to get to and from the central corridor and to and from my atmosuit docks. I'm not sure how much time I'd even be saving, assuming I kept my scheduling at two nighttime slots. Maybe there's a way to do this where if you cut down to one bedtime slot, the comfy beds would give you an advantage. However, I'm not willing to risk that, especially when you can do things like, well, queue up a bunch of dig commands, say over here, and your duplicants will be walking all the way over here to do that. Then when they come back for lunch, they're not going to have a lot of time. Just my particular feeling on comfy beds. So while they do have their uses, and I am open to having my mind changed on them, I do not see them as a decent cost benefit. The plus one morale and the possible saving of a little bit of productivity during the day is offset by the enormous amount of extra space it would take. Plus, I don't have enough plants to saturate all of these, so I'm going to have to switch in canvases and all that. It just seems like an awful lot of effort for very small gain when I could be doing other projects. Now, a little side project. I was having a lot of problems in the past with sour gas appearing inside this boiler, and I could never figure out why. I thought it was doors moving it, something along those lines. No, nothing along those lines at all. It turns out when this magma was flowing down here, occasionally a little blob of it'd fill up slightly more than two tiles, and you'd end up with a little blob of igneous rock on top here that would be quite hot. And then there would be some building project going on, and a duplicant would come along to pick up that piece of material. And when they did, I will slow this down to a crawl here. When they did, that item went onto the duplicant's person, and then it immediately transmitted heat to the liquid they were standing in, immediately turning it into sour gas, and which boiled into the room. Oops, that's what was causing the problem. The reason it didn't cause it on this one was it's surrounded by metal tiles, which was soaking up the heat quite rapidly. And that was why I was getting sour gas in this particular design. So yes, that's a little bit of a design flaw. But now that you're aware of that design flaw, you can realize just to push it back or maybe put in a temperature shift plate. It's a simple enough fix, but it was just one of those annoying issues that took a long time to spot. Many times I make these videos and afterwards I think of the right words to get my point across. But I think I've got it this time because I let this video sit for a few hours and let it percolate in my brain. Comfy beds allow an average duplicant on an average cycle to recover their stamina in 1.5 or 1 1/4 chunks. So each one of these is a chunk, so 1 1/4 chunks, comfy bed, full recovery. Regular barracks bed will take 1.5 chunks, so you can potentially save 1/4 of a chunk of time on each duplicant. How much is that worth? 6.25 seconds out of a 600-second day. Not even it wouldn't even allow you to take half a shower. You could spend that time. You get to use a sink though. You could use a sink and have a couple of seconds to spare. That's how much it's worth. But that's only if You have one single bedtime slot assigned to each duplicant, and it all works out perfectly and they don't miss going to bed at times. Or if you've got two chunks assigned, well, then it's not going to work out perfectly every time. Also, you've got to deal with the fact that the duplicants are now traveling further distances because the beds are now further away from the central corridor. It just seems like even if you got everything perfect, which is, I think, pretty much impossible, you're only going to gain 6.5 seconds per duplicant, but more than likely you won't. So that's why I think comfy beds are not worth the effort. And showers, I don't need 3 morale. I'm not going to trade 15 seconds of a duplicant's productive day for 3 morale. I can get their morale plenty of other ways, which is why I don't use them. I could also use them for polluted water, which I don't need, or I could use them to get rid of debuffs like sopping wet or soggy feet, but my duplicants don't get those either because I plan ahead and try and avoid those. So I have no use for showers. They're just not worth it. Oh, and one last thing. Composts. I was talking about compost the last time and why you shouldn't bother using them, and a more concise explanation would be this. Do you need dirt in the first couple hundred cycles? I've never needed dirt in the first couple hundred cycles. So why bother getting your hands dirty composting it? Why bother dealing with the heat or anything along those lines? I just stick it in a container and let it off gas into polluted oxygen or do whatever it wants. Just so long as it's out of my way, I don't care. It saves me more time. That would have been a much more concise and simpler explanation. But I waffle. Anyway, this is my reasoning for not bothering with showers and not bothering with comfy beds. Maybe you can find some reasons or some grounds that can give them more of a useful pattern. If you do, hey, drop a comment, argue away. I hope this was at least mildly informative, or if not informative, at least entertaining. And good luck.